Welcome back to the special edition of News Channel 15 at 5. We have team coverage of Hurricane Fran, and I guess we've got Ed, too.
Yeah, we're going to try to pick off where Ed left off. And Ed, can you pick up where you left off?
Most certainly. Let's begin once again with the radars here to show you what's happening. This, of course, is the eye right here, and usually the eye is void of much shower and thunderstorm activity and also fairly light winds. But when we're talking about very intense winds, no doubt around the eye right here is where you find most of the very intense winds. And as this hurricane continues to move to the north, no doubt our winds will be increasing, especially along the immediate coast here, over the next several hours or so, and the rain will continue to pick up and spread inland as the night wears on. Okay, let's move it over to the satellite picture now and show you what's happening here. The hurricane has been over the Gulf Stream for quite some time now, but it has not picked up any intensity, and we're thinking at this point in time that it probably will not. It will maintain at 115 miles per hour. That's the good news, but again, it is heading toward extreme southern sections of North Carolina. That puts us on the backside of the eye. Perhaps storm surge flooding will not be as bad as we previously thought, which is good news. But even though we are on the backside of this eye, the winds will be very, very strong. There's no question about that. Perhaps up to 100 miles per hour or greater in some locations. And I'll break that down for you coming up in just a few minutes. First of all, though, we're going to move in and show you the latest coordinates. And I know, Gordon, these are the old ones. Do you have the new ones that you could possibly find? 32.9 and 77.9. So 32.9, 32.9, and 77.9. Notice this number has not changed, but this one has. That means it's moved from here to here, but not moved any further to the west. That's why we think it will maintain that northerly course and head somewhere between Little River and, of course, Wilmington. So our official forecast track at this point in time is being shifted slightly further east. And the further we get it to the east, the better off we are here in the eastern Carolinas. But remember, this is still a major hurricane. It's not to take lightly. Once it passes and moves away from us, then we can start feeling a little bit better about this whole thing. Now again, here is the latest wind field that we were able to plot for you, and what will likely happen is if the eye does make landfall further to the east, so does the bulk of this wind right here. A lot of this activity moving out to the east as well, but there's no doubt in my mind that we will see hurricane force winds in many locations of the Grand Strand, perhaps over 100 miles per hour if the eye is close enough. The further inland you go here, notice that the winds sustained at about 50 to 70 miles per hour. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that we could have gusts close to 100 miles per hour. But remember, if the eye does pass further to the east, you may not have that much wind across the inland counties. We're a bit optimistic at this point in time, but we still want you to be completely prepared for the worst, just in case anything does happen in terms of it staying on a northerly or north-northwesterly track and bringing it a little bit closer to us. All right, tell you what, let's take a look at live pinpoint weather now to show you what's happening around the area. And I'll tell you what, the winds are really whipping out there. They're anywhere from 24 to 55 miles per hour. The peak wind gust well into the 60s now. Conway now at 52 mile per hour wind gust. Florence is reporting, but you got to keep in mind, folks, with this kind of weather around, the units are very, very reliable, but even occasionally they'll have their problems. Dillon, northeasterly wind only at about 5 to 10 miles per hour now, but their peak wind has been up to about 28. And as we mentioned, the rainfall totals have eclipsed the 2-inch mark in many locations along the Grand Strand. Not as much inland, but no doubt you will have quite a bit of rain, perhaps 4 to 8. And Dave and Tiffany, as you mentioned a little while ago, there is that threat of tornadoes as well. Tornado watch is up through tonight. That's mainly because these hurricanes a lot of times can produce small tornadoes that break away from the bands of thunderstorms that are rotating around. That's something we're going to have to be watchful of as well with Doppler radar. And don't forget, as Gordon just mentioned, flash flood watches are up for the entire state. Rain comes down very heavily. It can flood locations very, very quickly.
All right, thank you very much, Ed. And we were just talking about tornadoes. We want to tell you again that we got a call. And we have crews on the scene right now. There was a tornado they believe touched down in Hickory Grove. That was off Highway 9, is that correct?
Highway 9?
Off Highway 9 in Hickory Grove. They believe a tornado's touched down. It's uprooted some trees. So right now we are seeing damaging winds, possibly some tornadoes. So it's getting very dangerous out there. And let's take a look exactly what it looks like right on the beach. Our Victoria Spechko is standing by live on the beach. What's happening there right now, Victoria?
David, has gotten even increasingly worse in the last 5 minutes. Ed was just talking about some of those gusts, and I'm telling you, they're starting to come out here right now. And the rain is also really picking up. It's actually pelting us as we stand here, and I tell you, that rain coming at you 50, 60 miles an hour really does hurt. If we can take a look out here right now at the ocean, the waves are just incredible out here right now. A lot higher than we saw during Bertha, and basically the winds are just, the waves are really fighting the same winds that are tossing them into the shoreline right now. You can take a look at some of the palm trees. We're in kind of a calm right now, which is only probably going to last a few minutes, but the palm trees are really starting to sway. A lot of them are leaning a little bit. It's really just starting to pick up, and it's hard to believe that, as Ed's been mentioning and Gordon has been mentioning, that it's really going to get increasingly worse from here, because at some points out here it's extremely hard just to even stand in one point. And here comes one of those gusts as we speak. Really, for anyone, I'm looking right now out into the Ocean Boulevard area, and I do see a couple of cars that aren't associated with the National Guard or with Highway Patrol or with the police departments, and it's really unsafe to be out here right now. We see a couple of branches blowing off. Some of the stores along Ocean Boulevard are starting to lose small pieces of maybe an awning and things like that. So for folks who are out driving and maybe even out walking around, it is extremely dangerous at this point, because you don't know where this debris is going to land, you don't know where it's going to fly, and the best thing to do right now is just to stay off the roads, stay in your homes, and really heed that warning, because the police officers and people running the evacuation order and things have a lot more to worry about than to be dealing with folks that are out on the road right now. Dave will continue to stand by, and we have a lot more to bring you throughout the show, and we'll stand by here as long as we can. Dave, Tiffany, back to you.
Victoria, I have one quick question for you. You were at the height of Bertha. Is there any comparison between Bertha and what you're seeing out there with Hurricane Fran?
Well, right now I think the winds are really heavier. I mean, that was the first time I myself had ever experienced a hurricane was Bertha, and as we all know, that didn't even come close to where Fran may hit us, and especially the winds weren't even as high. I think the highest wind we experienced here during Fran was during Bertha was about 70 miles an hour, and this is feeling a lot like it's coming in stronger and it's going to intensify. The rains are also a lot stronger out here. We're not seeing the damage that we saw ultimately in Bertha yet as far as the trees blowing over, but I can guarantee you that's probably happening right now as we speak, or in the next few minutes or few hours, as Ed and Gordon have mentioned. And it's getting a little tough to
There's
stand
the
out
gust
here. So,
right there.
Tiffany, back to you.
Okay, Victoria, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Well, of course, we've been telling you about preparing for the hurricane, but there are some things you should be doing during the storm. And these are things that could mean the difference between life and death. Reporter Leo Stallworth has the story.
During the storm, the safest place to be is in a well-secured home, windows shut, doors locked. In your well-secured home, what you want to do is designate yourself a safe area. A safe area does not constitute windows. Stay away from windows. What is considered to be a safe area? A hallway, a large entryway closet, even a bathroom. Let's say, for instance, your bathroom is your safe area. Go inside of your restroom during the storm. Stay inside of your safe area. Do not come out for any reason except that you get the all clear, the storm is over. Outside of that, shut the door and wait it out. Another safety tip to remember during a storm is do not use your stove. Do not use candles or kerosene, because the wind caused by the storm circulating through your house can ignite fire. During a fire, the fire department cannot get to you during a hurricane.
The ambulance service, police, the fire department are pretty well handicapped because there's so much flying debris, the winds are so high that there's no navigating. You just can't get around. We will get out and try to help, but you know, you can't pump water or anything, and you got the possibility of firemen being injured or even killed with flying debris, and you just gonna have to do what you can do, and it's up to the general public to take every precaution they can. Don't light candles, don't do anything that might cause a fire. Just sit and ride out the storm. I know it's be a helpless feeling, but that's all you can do.
I'm Leo Stallworth, reporting for News Channel 15.
Very good advice.
Yeah, very good advice, and
Very
you
good.
should take that right now, because we're seeing those winds whipping up really
Conditions are
hard now,
worsening.
and it's starting to get worse and worse.
Absolutely.
And we're just starting with our team coverage right now.
That's right. We leave you now with a look at the Fran hotline numbers. We'll be right back. Keep it right here on News Channel 15.
Your hometown Carolina Dodge dealer and the new Dodge, proud sponsors of Pinpoint Weather.